Welcome, everybody. We should be live now. I would first say to any audience out there, greetings. I'm the GM in the Great Barrier, which I hope will be the center of your entertainment galaxy. Yes, this is a Star Trek V pun. Admit the gag now, let's get that part out of the way. But I welcome you to our game. This will be a Star Trek Adventures campaign powered by Modiphius, their Star Trek Adventures engine, and it will be set in the era of the Enterprise series, specifically around 2154. Before we get started with some introductions here, I wanted to say a quick thanks to a few individuals here. I wanted to thank the players that are here to join me today. It's been a very interesting time discussing their roles with them, and I think that you are all going to get to enjoy them quite a bit. One to Modiphius for giving us an interesting engine. Thanks goes to ELH, one of the greats in our community, who also very much helped to inspire the overlay. There are numerous people along the way that helped me get here, and I cannot thank you all enough. But with that, we are going to introduce our characters here. I regret to say that our chief engineer will be absent for today, but you will all get the chance to meet him at a later point. So with that, let's go in decreasing rank order, uh, starting with our ship's captain.
Hello. Howdy. I'm Artem. I'll be playing Captain Anthony Barton of our titular starship.
And then I guess it's me that's up next. So I'm Drone. I'm playing Lieutenant Commander Kiran Patel, the science officer.
I'm Craig. I'll be playing Eula Shearer, the tactical officer.
I am Ben. I will be playing Dr. Lambbeath, your chief medical officer.
I'm Mark. I'm playing the ship's helmsman, Chorus Tackley.
And you will get a few moments to establish the characters as we go forward. One thing that obviously deserves a mention would be the particular starship, the SS Aegis, a Daedalus-class starship. One of the ugly ships, but one that always grows on you, and I'm sure if it hasn't yet, it will grow on you as the campaign goes ahead. Our first scene takes us among the gantries of Earth's shipyards, very specifically around Takasaki shipyards. Even in the noiseless vacuum of space, it is clear that it is abuzz with the day's work. Smaller Worker Bee class shuttles are darting between space frames in various stages of completion, from the absolutely skeletal to some that are in full readiness to leave. It is one of those that we follow as we take a closer look at one of the worker bees making a pass along the length of the hull. Tell us, Artem, what is Captain Barton doing?
I am sweeping along the ventral plating of the lower plating of the USS Aegis. Is it USS or is it SS?
The technical designation, for everyone's reference, would in fact be Starship, so SS. The United Earth hasn't quite come to a decision on what else to do. That's going to be cover speak for saying we might include a U later, but for now, the paint
Right.
job isn't firmly decided on.
Right. That's something that can always be fixed later. I'm sweeping along the ventral plating of Aegis's hull in a worker bee, sitting there alone in my captain's jacket and hat, similar to what might have been seen in certain first episodes of certain Star Trek series. I'm having a look along, making sure, just as a final personal sweep, that all of the plating is intact and bolted in correctly and where it needs to be. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to just as a bit of multitasking. Aegis Starlog, Captain Anthony Barton, May 17th, 2154. Aegis's refit to operational status is proceeding according to schedule, with the final preparations for launch being conducted as I enter this log. The Daedalus class is an old Starfleet workhorse. Nothing like the new NX-type starships that are clogging up the shipyards. Computer, delete that last sentence. I'm personally conducting a sweep of the hull plating in Aegis's worker bee, and he looks forward and sees a mild error in the plating. Actually, computer, uplift engineering and inform them ventral plating at B4 TAC A55 is loose. Anyways, I've made myself available to the refit crews for all stages of Aegis's refit. Getting her up to spec has been a challenge with the time frame Admiral Forest has given us, but we made it. We've assembled a diverse crew of races from, well, all over the sector and beyond that too. We've got, I believe, I've got a I don't want to be insensitive, but he does remind me of a barn owl in my engineering bay. There's a Ryzian, a Andorian, which Captain Archer made contact with not too very long ago, and I'm excited to have one on my crew, and a couple of humans such as myself. So it seems I've got Captain Archer beat in terms of diversity for the crew of this starship. So setting records is always fun. Computer scrub that last bit as well. I'll finish this later. Computer end log.
The computer acknowledges and the recording cuts out. Sure enough, the engineering is acknowledging you. With the pace that you've been going at, you've undoubtedly been sending quite a few of these files along their way.
Captain Barton just sort of releases a shaky breath, like feeling oddly more nervous than he was expecting for this sort of thing. Like, he's a trained Starfleet captain. He's been instructed on conducting diplomacy with other races, new life, new civilizations, that sort of thing. But actually commanding them on a starship of his own is a new experience to him. So it's a new challenge, and he's excited. But there's just a tinge of anxiousness.
So yeah, you proceed along with your inspection, the anxiety very slightly getting to it, and the bit of telemetry reading off on the ship's console. It's probably fallen into a fairly steady rhythm at this point. However, it is punctuated by a signal from the Aegis.
I open a channel.
Captain, this is Ensign Creighton in here.
Go ahead, Ensign Creighton.
You wanted me to let you know when the Admiral was on board the ship, correct?
That's right.
Okay, well, he's here on the bridge, waiting.
All right, I'll be docking immediately. Thank you for letting me know, Ensign. Captain Barton out.
Sure thing, sir.
And I close the channel, and I begin to direct the worker bee back into the shuttle bay of Aegis.
Okay, and I think that this would be a good time just for our first roll of the game, if you would be willing to do the honors. Right. Yep. For your case there, Artem, your roll would be a con and control roll.
All right, a control plus con roll with a task roll with 2 dice rolled, the computation range being normal, and I don't think I have an applicable focus really. Unless impulse thruster design or gravimetric field displacement manifold design is helpful in this scenario.
Well, I think the worker bees would be going off maneuvering thrusters. There's generally a strong dislike for people using impulse while on space dock. That never goes away.
Imagine.
Yep.
Yeah, igniting fusion thrusters in space dock might pose problems, so
Indeed.
I'll just go ahead and roll that. Do I get to know what the difficulty is?
You do. The difficulty for this control plus con task is going to be 0.
0. All right. Okay. Hopefully I don't roll any complications.
And you score 1 success. For anyone coming to this unfamiliar with the system, the way that the rolls work is that there is a target score everyone has. It is the sum total of the attribute, in this case control, or discipline, which is the con. That being the case, with 1 success, he has met the demands of the task, and he has scored 1 additional success compared to what he needed. What that translates to is that you actually get a little bit of a bonus, specifically by way of a momentum. So
very nice.
That'll be 1 momentum for you. For now, I'm just going to distribute tokens on the basis of I may just give them to you for now. At a later point, we can discuss whether we want a designated momentum officer. I'm completely open to the idea, but that is for another time to sort out. So you are proceeding into the shuttle bay at this stage. The docking is uneventful, textbook really. You are, of course, quite impeccable with your work here. You enter the shuttle bay. There is, of course, the stage where as the doors close, it takes a few minutes to repressurize here. Atmosphere eventually pressurizes. You're able to get out of your shuttle and make a swift pace towards the bridge. Along the way, there are a few of the engineering teams are at work. Crew is still attempting to board the vessel at this point. Mostly, like, everyone is on board, but you know that there are some stragglers at present. As you make your way up through the decks, crossing through the corridor that leads from the secondary hull into the primary hull, you may have cause to go one of a couple ways. You know there is a fairly direct turbo lift on sort of a further end, but you could bypass it very slightly if you wanted to make a stop by the transporter room.
Yeah, actually, I was as I was sitting in the worker bee waiting to repressurize. I did actually have a thought about the transporter, how that might speed things up. Because I did, burn a couple minutes just waiting for the shuttle bay to fill up with breathable air. So yeah, I'll swing by the transporter room and have a quick look at that before making my way to the bridge.
Indeed, indeed. And that means that we will have a chance to have a little bit of character interaction here. So as you make your way by, we first are going to cut to the area in the corridor where it sort of breaks off into the transporter alcove, and where we have a few operations personnel steadily moving boxes and crates of things off of the transporter pad, all under the supervision of one Lieutenant Commander Kiran Patel.
Yep. So Patel is standing here. He's like crossed his arms, tapping his foot, waiting, sort of pestering the crewmen who are manning the transporter.
Yep.
Come on. I know that the next one is supposed to be mine. According to this manifest here, it's supposed to be my very important shipment.
The crewmen that are at work look to you. It's like, sorry, sir, look, I'm not your regular transporter operator. I'm more station personnel, and I barely trust how to work this thing. I'd honestly be surprised if I get get the atoms all scrambled back together properly.
His eyes widen. No. Do not say that. This is very, like I said, very important. Irreplaceable objects. Do you understand? Irreplaceable. Here, let me just get that console. And he comes over to the console and like hits a button and says, San Francisco, this is Aegis. Could you please inform me of the status of package Patel 1? This is very important. This is the next one on the transporter pad.
Package Patel 1, we have it in the queue here. Sorry, it seems that, well, this is most unusual. We seem to have, it seems to be behind a crate filled with, why are there so many statues of Earth monuments here? Well, the quartermaster's given this alpha priority in any case, so we need one more to bring up here. If you would like to take over transporter duties, are you the regular chief? I understand that they hadn't made it aboard yet.
No. This is the chief science officer aboard Aegis. Look, I can wait one more package. If you say it's one more, then that's fine.
Oh, very well. Try to keep the flow moving. What's that? Oh dear. We may have a little more coming your way. Stand by, Aegis.
He just goes and like closes the channel.
Nope.
Or hands it back over to the crewman, I guess.
At this stage, one Captain Barton would be walking through the corridor.
So, Captain Barton is striding forth to seemingly looking in the direction of the transporter room, and he turns into to look at the booth, and he sees Commander Patel there, and he nods and he says, "Commander."
Oh, Captain, I'm glad you're here. It
Is there a
seems that
problem?
there's that. Well, it's not a problem per se. It's just bureaucracy down in at Starfleet Command.
I see.
Getting some of these packages aboard. I very explicitly requested to have some very important scientific equipment sent up by a specific time, and that just does not seem to be the case.
Is the lab not stocked?
No, the lab is stocked very well. This is more for a personal collection of scientific artifacts.
I see.
However, these are highly mission sensitive and critical.
Very well. Did you talk with San Francisco?
Yes, they informed me that the quartermaster was prioritizing some statues of something.
statues of something. Do I recall any anyone like having statues of anything delivered to Aegis?
Hmm. Well, you may not have looked over the most recent quartermaster reports, but there was nothing that came to mind immediately, or nothing on official channels.
Okay. So these are probably some personal belongings then. Well, I mean, Commander Patel said that he was looking for some personal belongings as well. So I suppose, if it's just a couple more packages, then it's not a huge deal. Captain Barton is standing there. I suppose I should take a moment to describe Captain Barton. He's standing there. He's a tall man, with blonde hair, and a short, well-trimmed beard on his face, and flowing back down his head. His hair is about shoulder length, although he usually keeps it in a low ponytail, a la Orlando Bloom in Pirates of the Caribbean. He's got blue eyes and a kind face, and he just smiles as Patel delivers his worries about his personal scientific equipment. Commander Patel, does the transporter seem to be in working order? I don't think I've been through one of these before, have I?
You probably have not. It is not yet
Okay.
in. Transporters at this point are only just now starting to make it into more regular circulation after experimental trials both in engineering facilities and more recently field testing by the Enterprise.
Right. I've probably seen a couple reports of people being transported to and from places using Enterprise's transporter.
You would
In
have.
that case, it's probably fine. Yeah. Um, Commander Patel, have there been any problems integrating the new transporter systems into Aegis? I know the Daedalus class wasn't exactly designed to support this sort of thing, so well, I guess this is more of an engineering question. What is your assessment, Commander Patel?
I mean, so far it seems to be performing perfectly. I'd love to learn more about the technology behind this. I just haven't had the time. But I have noticed one little quirk in the system since I've been sitting here waiting very patiently for my package, and
Oh,
that is every time something beams up, the lights in the corridor dim. Something
I'll
we'll
have
definitely have to.
engineering. I'll
Uh,
have engineering take a look at that. It's probably just an EPS imbalance. Yeah, I'll have let engineering know. They'll send someone up to take care of it. Okay, well, that sounds good. I'll get out of your way. Carry on, Commander.
Captain, could we like narratively have a package come up right now just
Yep,
to see what it looks like?
yep. A very large crate is beamed on board, and crew members are looking about at it like they are not going to relish the idea of trying
Lifting
to
that and
place
carrying
it.
it around.
Yeah, or to be fair, they have some sort of utility sleds. I think the technology is far enough along that they would have some degree of like hover capability.
Space
There's
dollies.
Yes, there's a non-zero chance that wheeled material is still being used. It's a slight complicated process while everyone figures out exactly how they wish to move the crate.
I excuse myself from the transporter deck, and I keep moving on to the bridge, where Admiral Forest is presumably waiting for me, or
I
Admiral whoever. I don't know.
Indeed, indeed. You would not have actually seen much of any of the Admiralty at this point, or indeed any of the staff officers in the newly arrayed unified combined service that Starfleet and Mako are aiming to build right now. As all of you would know, but Captain Barton, you would be most aware of the situation at this stage. Starfleet has been undergoing some reforms for a little ways now, such that there's effectively a joint command structure going on, where you may see some crews staffed partly by Mako personnel, others by more purely Starfleet personnel. Some may be a mix, but it is not without precedent at this stage to actually see Mako level officers in various roles, usually reserved for Starship Command. So, for example, you might see an officer or two running a colonel in command of a starship as opposed to a Starfleet captain. There are a lot of quirks with what's been
Um,
going on, but your ship, by and large, would probably be Starfleet. There are some Makos on board, but not too many.
At the thought of Makos running Starfleet vessels, Captain Barton just purses his lips a bit, but he also, recalls that the Xindi incident was only, or well, the Xindi Planet Killer incident was only a few months ago, 3, I think, 3.5. So,
Yes, it had only recently ended, and even though Enterprise was successful, and with the help of the Andorians, it should be mentioned, some casualties were still sustained, specifically the loss of Yosemite
yes.
Station.
He thinks about the people on board Yosemite Station, and there were other Starfleet vessels involved in engaging the Xindi forces, correct?
There would have been, and there indeed the planetary defenses were a little bit more beefed up at that time and had tried to engage some of the Xindi picket vessels that made it ahead of the proper weapon. They were mostly diverted at that time, but thankfully a Xindi vessel that seemed to have defected, as those would know in the meta, that is to say, the Xindi arboreals and humanoids, and aquatics for that matter, had all defected.
Mm-hmm.
A small Xindi vessel had joined in the fray. The Andorian vessel Kumari had also been present.
Captain Martin takes a moment to think about all the people that were lost in the attack, and steels himself and continues on his way to the bridge.
Indeed. And those thoughts, they consume what you are doing whilst in the turbo lift, but it opens up and you snap back to the professional, attentive officer. At this point, you find yourself on the bridge with one Admiral Forest, a series of officers. Forest, one of the higher-ranking officers in Starfleet's United Earth Space Probe Agency service, is actually just resting his hand on the captain's chair, as opposed to completely on board. He's looking over the bridge of this vessel. It's definitely a fair bit smaller than the NX class. There were a few more bells and whistles with their setup. It's a very utilitarian setup. But he acknowledges you as you come aboard. Ah, Captain. It's nice to have you show up.
I do apologize for the delay. I was involved in inspections of the hull, and I needed to stop by the transporter room to make sure everything was working correctly.
Oh, I can't say I blame you. I hear that your crew's been in quite a frenzy, and you've had them that way. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ensign. He looks over to Crichton. You were saying the chief engineer was sleeping? Hibernating, sir. He'll be out for the next 12 hours, it sounds like, from his current rotation. I have been speaking with the engineering teams, and, well, he should be back on his feet shortly. So we would hope. He crosses his fingers very slightly.
We would hope, yes. Well, in any case, his role should be done. For the most part, everything else that needs to be done with Aegis is just final bells and whistles. Hardly the chief engineer's purview.
Well, that is
there something you wish to discuss, Admiral?
Oh, I just wish to see you off here. I'm actually somewhat on my way out. The Sarajevo is due in the next couple hours to pick me up so that I can proceed on to my scheduled meet with some of our diplomats on Vulcan. I'm hoping that we can get joint operations back underway. They obviously haven't been that happy with us ever since the Pajem incident, but I've got to keep trying.
I can imagine.
Well, I can also say that I understand Commander Narsu's been about, but you probably won't be seeing as much of him now. I don't know if he sent along the word to you, but he just got his 4th
Has
pip.
Archon launched?
Archon is actually just about to launch with him. That was another happy topic earlier. I was able to inform him of the promotion, and the official ceremony is going to be a little ways later, but Archon is as good as his.
I'm glad to hear that got the seat. He certainly deserves it.
Most certainly. As you, he, several other officers have been instrumental as we've been getting this fleet truly off the ground and able to stand on its own 2 legs.
I do appreciate the desire to minimize our dependence on the Vulcans.
Indeed.
I am glad to be a part of it.
Well, Captain, don't let me hold up your venture here. To be sure, you have plenty to do, and I may not be able to stick around for the launch, but I did want to wish you good luck. He extends a hand out to you.
He shakes Admiral Forest's hand firmly. If you'd like, I can escort you to the shuttle bay.
Oh, that won't be necessary. I actually came in through the gantries along the airlock. I wouldn't want to take one of your shuttle pods, especially when it still seems like you're waiting for one to arrive here. I understand they've
Yes, we
been
are.
quite busy. Well,
A few of my bridge officers are still missing, but I'm sure they'll be up in short order.
indeed. Captain, may the wind be at your back, and the road rise to meet you.
Thank you, Admiral.
Admiral Forest will make his way off of your bridge and into his next venture. So we cut down to Earth, where Captain Barton and Lieutenant Commander Patel have long since made it up to the ship, and others have yet to be introduced at this stage. So we'll save their story for just a moment here. We are more focused on two of them at the moment. A slightly thinner gentleman who's walking amongst the grounds. Tell you what, Ben, describe us Dr. Lambbeath and how he is moving about the hub near Starfleet Command.
Okay, before I do, just looking at the stream, I think the stream's seeing a different part of Roll20 than we are.
You know, I do think so too, which is weird because the recording window ought to be on this exact screen. I'm going to see if I can adjust the capture. So whilst you describe that, I'm going to attempt to fix that for all of you. I ask our friends here, just bear with me one moment. Let's see, that is this one.
So, Dr. Lambeth is a kind of somewhat scrawny, a little skinny guy, fairly average height, maybe a little smaller. His head's not quite on a swivel, but he's keeping an eye out as he's walking along. Like little bit of ginger hair, pale face, like nothing. A little bit of stubble, where he's kind of shaved, but not all that recently. And he's just, I guess, walking along on Earth. Probably wheeling a suitcase, and like with a medical.
You were out and about on the grounds of sort of Starfleet's general complex. You know that you are bound for a shuttle. Refresh my memory, not just that you were coming in slightly thinner or scrawnier, but what would your baggage roughly look like at this stage?
Yeah, it's not much, kind of like enough to put in a suitcase plus his like medical bag stuff. So suitcase isn't much, like basically just some clothes packed in there, like probably a couple of small personal items, but not much. Very much something that you could pack in 5 minutes, and kind of almost sort of lives out of his suitcase a little bit.
Indeed, indeed. Moving about the grounds, you see a cadet class running by. They actually seem to be... It's an odd sight, but I suppose you wouldn't necessarily know as much, not having started out through Starfleet. It does seem that a Mako drill instructor is running alongside the cadet class, and he is giving the usual shouting motivational chant as they run to keep them going. It wasn't anything that was ever suggested in a brochure or any material that you might have looked at, but you do understand there's been some very slight changes around Starfleet grounds. The Mako drill instructor actually stops by, noting your uniform. Lieutenant, how are you doing today?
Yeah, all right. I've got a posting up on the Aegis. Just heading over there now. Gonna catch the last shuttle.
Ah.
Do you need anything?
No, sir. Just make sure everything's okay. Shuttle should be around that way. Pointing towards a sort of hangar bay-like structure not too far off. Do you do any? Do you just make your way there, or any sort of perusing around the grounds?
I think I'm mostly just gonna make my way there. Yeah, just have a not too. I guess makes his way there leisurely. Like he's not rushing, but he's also not gonna go too slowly, and he's not taking a detour or anything like that.
Fair enough. So you make your way to a shuttle pod, like the hangar, where you find a shuttle pod that is indeed marked as one of Aegis's shuttle pods. We'll call it Shuttle Pod 2 for their purposes. And it's a most unusual sight, as there seem to be a string of operations officers that are bringing in a set of small boxes, seemingly rolls of, you might guess they're like flags, just all manner of things that are being loaded into this craft.
Okay, I'm gonna go up and sort of take a peek. I'm gonna ask one of the whoever's doing the loading. Is that right? Sorry, I didn't realize I was gonna be on a cargo shuttle. I thought I was.
Oh no, the person that you flag down, he like pulls out a tablet from basically a sort of utility vest that he's wearing. Oh no, you're on the right shuttle pod. Dr. John Lambeth. Lambeth. Okay, yeah, this is exactly your shuttle pod. We're just yeah.
There's a lot of flags, is it?
Oh, all sorts of things, but we're just hey, your co-pilot, he's got a little bit of pull here. Just a few odd favors. I'll tell you what, he's exactly the person to spend a bit of time with and getting to know a new locale.
Good to know. Is he in the ship?
Oh yeah, just on board doing some pre-flight checks, and maybe a couple more boxes here. But yeah,
Well, you keep up the good work. I'll head inside.
Sure thing. And he leaves you to it. The side hatch for the shuttle pod is it is already a cramped affair, but the shuttle pod itself, its interior is considerably crammed. A number of the other seats, including the front pilot seat, or rather the co-pilot seat, are very likely occupied at this point. More oblong boxes, like thinner but longer things, are kind of stacked between some of the walkways that one might have come in through. Um, so it's going to be very difficult negotiating things here. I'm actually going to ask you to give me a task and a roll in order to get through here.
All right.
This will be let's call it fitness and medicine. Test your reflexes here. And the difficulty on this task is going to be 2, so you must roll 2 successes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've got any fancy stuff I can do with that. So let's just roll.
All right, and that is actually 3 successes. So
Good.
you are undoubtedly used to moving in tight spaces, crawling in ways that necessarily would that might be a little more difficult, and you do so with such poise and grace that you don't knock into anything or knock over anything. You just manage to fit on the one unoccupied chair. And at this point, I'd say that you probably come to the notice of the pilot in the front seat. So, Mark, go ahead and tell us a little bit about Lieutenant Junior Grade Chorus Tackley.
Tackley's a reason. Ryzen. Is that correct? Ryzen.
It would be Ryzen.
Yep. Yeah, junior lieutenant, standard uniform, looking very standard Starfleet, not looking any different. And he's just taking all the pre-flight checks and yeah, waiting for the rest of the passengers to board.
Indeed. And indeed, your other passenger has come on board at this point.
Huh? Morning. How are you? You're the pilot? I take it I'm Dr. Lambeth.
Junior Lieutenant Tackley, sir.
Lovely. Oh right, yeah. I'm your superior. Huh. That's funny. Don't mind that. How are you doing?
Fine. Happy.
Glad to
Good.
hear it.
I don't know, is there a right answer to that question?
Probably not.
I'm excited that I get to go in space again.
Yeah, space sure is a trip. I'm gonna say by the sounds of that, you haven't been in space for a while.
Well, I've been
Particular
in
reason for that?
Starfleet. I've been Starfleet, doing Starfleet stuff, learning, graduating. So,
Ah,
not much time to space then.
yeah. Well, I've been traveling mostly. Lots of space, but mostly the planets in between.
Yeah.
Anyway, this stuff's all yours, is it? Because there sure is a lot of stuff here.
Some. You gotta get some souvenirs from every place you go to. Memorabilia, you know?
Just
I
as
don't know.
just as this is being said, somebody comes in. Sorry to interrupt there. Chorus, I just want to again thank you so much for thank you so much for that that one other night that showing off that one nature trail you found. Oh, so great. I managed to grab you all the baubles and the sort of jiggly head things from the that one theme park you liked, you talked about so much. I don't remember. I don't want to risk a copyright thing. Let's do this. And he just passes that in.
Did you grab the snow globes as well?
I did get you a snow globe. Hold on, guys. Three of them. Three of them. Like another three officers come through with a fair-sized boxes, each of them like lined with packing peanuts and bubble wrap to help keep everything in sync.
Nice. Just waiting for the first time we get in combat and everything just breaks.
Well, hopefully you don't have to deal with that, though. Yeah, the way that at least some of the public stuff comes back from Enterprise's logs, I'd be a little worried, I guess.
Oh well. Gotta live your life to the fullest. Excitement and everything.
Yep.
Danger. Adrenaline. Ooh.
Well,
Not too much danger, though. You don't want to be visiting my office too often.
But then you'd be out of a job.
I'm happy to have less busy weeks, at least. I suppose the odd scratch does keep me employed. It's kind of the irony of being a doctor, I suppose, is you don't want people to get hurt, but you kind of need people to get hurt, otherwise no one's going to want you around.
Well, I'm sure the captain will find other jobs for you to do.
Assuming I don't have my hands full with you lot.
not my wheelhouse. This is more of an ops thing, so you folks just enjoy that. I think that's the last one. We got everything else going up by transporter anyway, so you should be all nice and set.
Yeah,
Alright.
I'm all strapped in. I'm ready when you are.
Yeah, I'll wait for them to leave and
Yep.
then start taking off and go as fast as I can without breaking regulations.
All right. Now, do you want? You don't want to break regulations, but would you like to push them a little bit?
Yeah, I would go
Spec.
just not fast enough that I would get in trouble, but fast enough that I shouldn't be going that fast.
Spectacular. Let's call this a daring and con roll then. And I'm going to set your difficulty to 2.
I have small craft and helm operations.
Those both
Focus.
apply as focuses, so just on the above the task roller, there should be a yes or no option for the focus. Just go ahead and set that to yes, and then give me a roll here. So that should be 2 successes, so you just meet. The engines kick online, the inertial dampeners a short moment behind, give you just enough oomph to where you get out and you feel it very slightly, but not so much that you break any of your souvenirs, Chorus. So you will begin rocketing upwards to the ship, and you steadily move to break orbit. In the distance, you're going to as you clear the atmosphere, you're going to make out the signs of the gantries of the dry docks, and you will begin to see as you come up close the starship Aegis. A little ways further out of sight, but certainly registering on your sensors by this time, you would probably get the signs of a non-Starfleet ship that is beginning to approach the lunar perimeter at this point. And it reads as an Andor. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, do I recognize the design? But you want to say?
Yep, I was just about to say. It reads as an Andorian vessel, one with a special distinction because they were one of the heroic ships that intervened in Earth. So we cut aboard the USS Kumari, or rather, the Imperial Guard vessel Kumari. There I go, trying to give it a prefix that the Andorians definitely don't have. Lieutenant Shira, as you step aboard, it's still in your guard uniform at present. You're coming aboard the bridge for what may be the last time, on orders specifically to report to an officer that you have known a long time and may even call a friend. That would be one Tarm Chiorka. Would that be accurate? Or
Yeah, Tom Chiorka.
all right. So, Senior Lieutenant Chiorka has ordered you to come to the bridge here.
Take a moment. I'm getting ordered by Tom to do anything, but that's okay.
Lieutenant.
Yes,
Good.
Lieutenant.
That's Senior Lieutenant to you.
Yes, Senior Lieutenant.
He smiles a little bit. I've been reviewing I've been reviewing some of the personnel queries that have come up lately. I was actually preparing to file in a message to the medical officer, as I feel that there's a need to inform inform them that a member of the crew may not be of their right mind. I want your opinion on that.
A member of the crew might not be of their right mind. Whatever do you mean by that, Senior Lieutenant?
He holds up a pad that's in his hand, and it displays your file and service record. And a picture of you for good measure. Which at this point, Craig, go ahead and give us a little description of Lieutenant Eula Shira.
Eula has got typical Andorian white hair going down past her shoulders, worn loose. She's not exactly the tallest Andorian around, and her usual perky antennae are a little bit more twitching with frustration at the minute.
Oh, you really must be crazy, Lieutenant. Eula, I still don't understand why you're taking an assignment aboard a pink skin ship. I mean, attaché certainly, and maybe a desk job, but you couldn't have maybe erred towards a more dangerous assignment than being on one of those ships, like a guard post atop a crate of live grenades.
Okay, a desk job. I have never taken a desk job. If anyone attempts to give me a desk job, I'm going to beat them to death with the desk. Anyway, the human ships are fine. I've read Commander Shran's reports about the Enterprise. It seems, maybe a little several decades out of date, but they're nice, I guess.
A little several decades. They barely have atomic and antimatter weaponry scattered throughout their fleet. Low-yield pulse cannons. They don't even have shields aboard their ships.
I'm aware of their...
They charge the hull platings and hope that it repels the weapons. You must be joking here.
Look, the Vulcans have someone on board the Enterprise. We're gonna need someone on board one of their ships. Can't have the Vulcans worming their way in where we aren't. I mean, they've already had, what, a century with the humans?
Oh, I don't know if we've known them that long, but I'll grant you the relationship is getting better. You couldn't have held out for their next class, though. I hear that it's going to launch any day now.
I'm not entirely sure it was my decision.
It most certainly was not. How much you have shared with the crew at this point might be another story.
Perhaps trying not to tell the full story, but getting difficult.
Mm-hmm.
She'll just frown a little bit, and antenna continue to twitch. It's like, look, this ship is one of their standard vessels. It is the Aegis on the view screen now.
It is indeed. The Daedalus class vessel is generously, like stated, it would be functionally, it looks like a sphere attached to some tubes.
And yes, sure, it may look like it's been glued together out of leftover pieces from a construction kit for other vessels, and frankly, somehow it looks worse than it does on the data pads, which is a remarkable achievement. But yeah, it's their standard ship. We need to see how standard humans standardly operate their primitive vessel. Her antenna will droop a little bit.
Yep. And let's not forget, another voice calls out, that these humans, refraining from his usual habit of calling them pinkskins, let us not forget how that these people, these humans, they have something that counts more than some degree of advanced technology. They have the will to fight. Lieutenant, it's,
I'll snap to attention when Tran's speaking.
Yep, as do the rest of the officers. Well, I suppose you're due for a uniform change, or, well, as attaché, I'm sure that the humans would allow for you to keep your Andorian guard uniform. I'd certainly prefer the proper guardsman attire, but one can only do so much. And we have to observe at least some protocol.
Yes, sir.
Well,
I was planning to ask the captain of the Aegis what they would prefer.
your shuttle will be standing by, it will. We will have to will convey you that way as they are still in dry dock. I'll ensure that we either get you into the gantries or through their shuttle bay, depending on what they have available. Till then, well, he just looks around the rest of the bridge, taking a moment to think. The rest of you, proceed about your normal duties. Lieutenant Tallis, take us in. Lieutenant Shira, perhaps I can join you to take you to the shuttle bay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. He will walk alongside you. Well, how are you feeling going into this first assignment?
I'm eager to learn as much as I can about the humans.
Well, if there's one thing I had to say about them, they have a degree of persistence, of grit to them. You can always count on a human to do what they got. Hell, I can't keep up. Can't constantly keep this up. You want the best advice I've got?
Yes, sir.
Never push the pink skins onto the thin ice.
Understood.
No. He gives a more determined nod. The commander has been trying his best, to be sure, but he is not always consistent with the proper nomenclature, as it were. The screen appears to be freezing for stream. I apologize for the issues there, but anything else you would wish to say while on with the commander?
Shira is trying her absolute best not to be just a little bit starstruck by being around Shran. So it's trying to keep calm and composed and not ask him to sign a photo or anything like that. She'll say, I'd just like to say it's been an honor to meet you and be on the same ship as you, sir.
So, he looks to you and is like, oh, certainly. I consider it a privilege to serve alongside any guardsman with so fine a record. Well, at least as far as I'm concerned, your record is sterling. I understand. I understand that there's obviously a bit of unpleasantry with the. Well, we don't need to get into that entire issue, but just know that this posting, Lieutenant, I think that this is going to be a good fit.
Really, sir?
Maybe that's more reassurance. Maybe I'm more telling myself that, but I can say one thing. These pink skins are a little more easy to work with. They're not just puppets of the Vulcans. They have their own inclinations, and a good bit of that seems bent on cooperation. If you do well here, I think there's a real possibility of an actual alliance taking shape.
Shall try my best to see that happen.
With that, the turbolift opens to the deck that will take you to the shuttle. He gestures to let you move forward first.
I'll do so.
All right. And so you will depart the Kamari for what, as far as you know, may be the last time, but one can always hope. As Shran leads you down the corridor, you do find that some of your crew are in fact actually arrayed along the corridor, waiting for you to pass them by. While the bridge crew is obviously stuck to their duties, it seems that Shran did arrange for a farewell as you make your way into the shuttle bay, which he will. One pilot is tasked to your shuttlecraft. Your effects are already on board, and with whatever salute is appropriate for the guard, they will see you off before exiting the bay and allowing you to depart the ship.
I'll return the salute and get on board.
All right. And so, with that, you will be on your way to the vessel. And that will take us, that will definitely take us back to the, that will take us back aboard the Aegis here. So, the hours are proceeding along swiftly, and final preparation is getting underway. Everyone is starting to get in order. Eventually, Patel, after some hours, I will say that your gear is aboard at this stage, and that everyone is beginning to make their way on. To check with our senior staff, those that were already aboard the ship and are present for today, would you prefer to greet officers as they come on board?
Yes, I very much would. I would very much like to do that.
Okay.
As a minor point of order, I probably would have asked Ensign. What was the comms officer's name again?
That would be Ensign Creighton.
I probably would have asked Ensign Creighton to hail the Kamari as they were approaching to deliver Lieutenant Shira, exchange some pleasantries with Commander Strand, and then see him and then monitor his vessel as it left the Earth's sphere of influence.
Indeed. It would probably take a few minutes whilst Creighton raises the Kamari, and as the shuttle is en route, you would get an audio signal from the from Commander Shran. Kamari, Aegis, this is the Kamari. We are acknowledging your signal.
Kamari, this is Captain Barton of the Aegis. Thank you for delivering my tactical officer. I'll be sure to take good care of her. Thank you for liaising with Starfleet and agreeing to this attaché mission. It means a lot to Earth and Starfleet moving forward for the relations of both of our races.
Indeed. And let me just say there, you had better treat her okay.
I wouldn't imagine otherwise.
And with a bit of silence, the Shran will simply acknowledge. Very well. Kamari out.
And nod and cut the channel.
Yep. So, Ensign Creighton will also inform you that your the shuttle pod with the last of your senior bridge personnel, very specifically Lieutenant Junior Grade Chorus Tackley and Dr. John Lambbeath, are both set to come aboard.
Okay. I will head down to the shuttle bay to greet them there, and I'll take over for whichever officer is handling the shuttle bay controls and guide them in myself.
Indeed. Lieutenant Commander Patel, once your gear is safely on board, would you prefer to be there as well?
Yes.
All right. So, for this, I think that, well, we'll stick with this ship set, but we will say that both of you make your way down to the shuttle bay, where so the first of the groups that would make it in would, of course, be Lieutenant Junior Grade Tackley and Dr. Lambeth. Once once you arrive, as you said, Captain, you relieve the shuttle operations personnel of their post and begin taking over the entry of the shuttle pod. Lieutenant Tackley, you are on final approach now, so it's definitely time to signal the Aegis.
Yeah, so signal them. Say that request permission to be come aboard.
You would hear your captain's voice respond, "Acknowledge shuttle pod. Proceed to the shuttle bay."
All right. And we'll actually make this one more roll for the sort of pre-mission stuff here. I will ask for a roll from you, Tackley, specifically control and con to dock. And this time, we will also have an assist roll here, specifically Captain Barton, since you are operating the controls for the shuttle bay, I will allow you to use command and control, and you may roll a single die to assist. Once again, this is going to be
All right.
just we'll set this to just a difficulty 1 task here.
All right, let me roll this. Oh boy. Oh no.
Oh boy,
I
indeed.
rolled a complication.
So the task succeeds.
one.
Lieutenant Tackley did indeed succeed at the task, but Captain Barton has rolled a complication. That complication is
no.
why he is now Commander Barton. I kid. In all seriousness, going forward, whenever anyone rolls a complication, I will present a question to whomever was responsible. So, Artem, here are your choices. Would you like to, 1, buy this off with the momentum that you have, which you have 2 at present, and that is sufficient to the task? Would you prefer to accept a narrative complication and have something in the story go very slightly wrong? Or would you prefer to give me threat? I will say for this one, the threat cost would be 2.
I see. Well, we have 2 points of momentum, which would be enough to buy off the complication. We can add the threat, or we can create a narrative complication. Would the narrative complication take place immediately, or would it be something you keep in the back pocket for later?
It is generally in GM's discretion. I think that what I have in mind here would be an immediate complication.
Well, I don't think any immediate complications in terms of shuttle docking procedures sounds like anything super fun. So how about we just you know what? Let's add to the threat pool, shall we?
Oh, delicious, delicious threat. Your GM appreciates your service. So yes, for anyone coming to the system unfamiliar, in either among our player group or in stream, the threat is sort of the anti-momentum. Either set of tokens allows one to affect the game for momentum that is something you earn with every excessive, like every point of success over the difficulty on a given task, and sometimes the GM can just reward you for excellent roleplay. Threat is what I earn when complications arise or in opposed tasks should it come up. More of that will, of course, come up later on, but the shuttlecraft does indeed manage to land without issue, since we're just taking threat here. And you set things up to pressurize the cargo bay, shuttle bay rather, once the doors have closed, and your officers are safely on board.
All right.
The snow globes are
Excellent.
intact, don't worry.
And with nothing going wrong along the way.
Yep.
Excellent. Why do I feel so anxious again all of a sudden? I don't know.
Yep.
All right. Okay. I will take the time to repressurize the shuttle bay, and once that is done, I will move down to the to where the is the arrangement of the shuttle bay similar to the Enterprises insofar as there's like ladders leading down to
There
the hatches, or
there is a 2-deck setup with the shuttle bay.
Mhm.
However, with the Aegis, it is actually there's an aft shuttle bay as opposed to hatches along the ventral section, or bottom for
Okay.
those less familiar with the ship parlance.
Okay. So I will then head down to the shuttle deck and wait for them to move out of the side of the shuttle to greet them. And is Commander Patel with me?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Okay. I will motion for us to move down and for us to move down and greet the rest of our officers.
Okay.
Two of them, anyways. I think we're waiting on another. has Lieutenant Shira been delivered?
Lieutenant Shira is presently docking with the gantry and will be making her way down to the airlock. So you will have enough time to introduce yourselves and quickly turn around your officers. Like, okay, we got to meet the next person.
Okay.
So, yeah, with that, the two of you disentangle yourself. I'm going to ask for. I won't actually ask for a roll, but I'll just say that both Tackley and Lambeth managed to evade most of the goods, which, thanks to the wonders of inertial dampeners, mostly stayed in place for flight.
Did they arrive in a shuttle pod or in a cargo shuttle?
It is a shuttle pod, so
Okay.
an already cramped craft, seemingly
Oh
cramped
boy.
with more goods than they generally would have taken.
So it appears we're running double duty with the transporters and the shuttle pods running cargo to and from the surface. All right. Well, I suppose that makes sense. It has been a bit of a frenzy of activity aboard, so the captain will wait patiently, yeah, for you guys to exit.
Yeah, Dr. Lambeth will kind of clamber out behind, like, holding his suitcase, and then he'll put it down when it's out. Captain,
Doctor?
nice of you to meet us on our arrival.
Of course. I take it your trip up here was uneventful?
Yep, plenty uneventful.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear. If it was eventful, well, that might be a cause for concern. Do you have everything you need, Doctor?
Yep.
I
well,
I
I
do.
guess it depends on what the lab's like, but I don't have any specific requirements for it.
Well, I can't say our medical bay compares to anything like what we have down at headquarters, but it should be sufficient for our purposes. Do you know the way to the medical bay?
I can find my way. I've got a map here somewhere. I'll get my bearings soon enough.
It should be on your pad.
Yeah.
Did you fly the shuttle up?
No, that would be the pilot.
Yeah, I'd be out there behind the doctor.
Okay. All right. And just out of curiosity, what do Dr. Lambeth and Lieutenant Tackley look like?
Lambeth's kind of like slightly shorter than average, a little skinny, ginger hair, a little bit of stubble. Yeah.
Okay.
Tackley's probably 5'10" or something. Slim. His hair's covering his reason head symbol, keeping it hidden so you can't see it. And yeah, other than that, standard.
All right. Captain Barton is a tall human man. probably well over 6 feet tall. He's blonde with blue eyes. He's got his hair tied back in a low ponytail, and he's got a short, well trimmed beard gracing the lower half of his face. He's looking at you with a kind smile. He's standing there in also a standard issue Starfleet uniform with the yellow stripes and 4 pips, indicating his command role. If that's everything, oh, this must be one of the cargo deliveries as well. The bay crew will take care of the items aboard. You don't need to worry about that.
It's mostly personal stuff, Captain.
Personal stuff.
Well, at least
Well,
some
in
of it
any
is.
Mostly personal stuff.
Some.
in any case, the crew will have your things delivered where they need to go.
Patel pipes up at the words personal stuff, and he sort of narrows his eyes conspiratorially to look at Tackley, and then he goes, "You wouldn't happen to have sent up a container full of small statues, would you, Lieutenant Tackley?"
They arrived.
Oh yes, they arrived.
You mean you've got more than just what's in here?
Listen,
You also
I
used
don't
them to
know the
avoid-
next time I'm going to arrive on Earth, so I had to grab everything. That's what you do. You got to remember the planet you've visited.
I'm not sure I trust your memory if you need all that to remember Earth.
Oh, come now. New life, new
Okay.
civilizations, remember?
Fair
We
enough.
appreciate your appreciation of our home, Lieutenant.
Patel clicks his
So-
tongue. Mental note. Grudge against Lieutenant Tackley.
Commander Patel will remember this.
Yeah. Also, I don't think I described him. He's like sort of like average height, average build, maybe a little bit of a paunch. He's older than most of you, I think. He's probably like pushing 40. Similar to the captain, like has long hair back in the ponytail, but it's like dark, like black hair, reflecting his Indian heritage. But yeah. He's assessing you. He's judging you. He's one of these people. He holds the grudge for the minor thing.
Just wait till movie night. We got all the movies. We're gonna have a fun night.
Lieutenant, I understand you're to be my helm officer. So, would you like to go to the bridge?
Certainly.
And
Are we preparing to get underway?
Yes, let's get you situated with Aegis' control.
as you say this, the comm line chimes in. Oh, sir, you wanted me to let you know when Lieutenant Shearer was about to board the ship.
Who is it that's speaking to me at the moment?
This is Ensign Creighton from the bridge.
Oh, okay. Yes, thank you, Ensign.
Yes.
Which airlock? Or starboard?
That would be starboard airlock, sir.
Thank you, Ensign. I'll be on my way shortly.
And the bridge line will cut out. So the captain has gone from one first meeting to another as baffled operations personnel come in and prepare to start unloading this shuttle pod. Very puzzled because they've not really had a break from the earlier unloading. And it's all going to the same place for the most part.
Perfect.
Anyway, who would like to join? Who would like to join the captain to greet your new security officer?
Well, do you want me to come with you, Captain, or should I just get settled in my med bay?
Have you met any Andorians, Doctor?
Not many. Not. Haven't worked on any. I've met a couple in passing. Not got acquainted with any of them in particular.
Well, you're welcome to join me if you'd like. If you'd prefer to get situated in the med bay, that is also fine.
What the hell? I'll join you.
Very well.
Patel?
Lieutenant, would you like some assistance moving your things? That's too tackly, by the way.
Sure. I'm unsure how to get it up the ladder.
He's on on my side. He's playing up the grudge angle, but he's not like being a dick about it. So, I mean, some of your effects are already on board. I happen to know where they stored them, so we can I can maybe show you the way.
Do we have big rooms? I'm assuming that we have big rooms. Otherwise, I'm not going to have enough room to sleep.
It's a tiny ship.
Yeah. Physically speaking, the Aegis is very small. Oh boy.
Actually, how many crew people do we have aboard?
So the Aegis at this stage would actually have about 180 officers and crew.
Oh, wow, we're packed in like sardines then. Like,
Yes.
I think Enterprise has like 80, 100.
They have about 80, I want to say 87, 88, something like that.
The Enterprise is a much larger ship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot more automation than the old Daedalus.
Please tell me
That is right.
I'm not Tackley's roommate, please. Gonna be swimming in these tiny little statues. I love it. Let's make it happen.
We have
Spectacular.
cargo bays. It's okay.
The everybody need the Slumber Barty story arc that is to come in future episodes. Yes.
Oh
Correct.
yes. Oh yes. Would I pick up on Commander Patel's mild annoyance with Tackley's abundance of personal items?
This might actually be the first chance for a contested role here, so we're gonna do that.
Okay.
Captain, I'm going to say, give me an insight plus command roll. Tackley, if you would like to resist, if you're trying to not make any distaste particularly obvious, then you can use, let's say, I think that control and control and command, I think would be the appropriate role.
Did you mean me or Tackley? Sorry.
So that would be for Patel, rather. I apologize.
All right. How many dice am I rolling for this?
This would be 2 dice for each of you. You do have momentum in the pool, so you are always welcome to spend that actually to buy additional dice if you so wish. For everybody's reference, you may buy up to 3 dice with an escalating pool. 1 momentum will buy you a single d20 on top of your additional 2, or on top of your basic 2, that is. 2 more momentum, so a total of 3, will buy you up to 2 additional dice, and then you would need a total of 6 momentum to purchase the 3rd bonus die, essentially.
Okay. I will just roll the standard 2. Why did that only roll?
Did
Oh, that's
you?
strange. It only rolled 1 die.
Your task
Oh,
roll may still
whoops.
be
I
set
set the
to 2.
complication rate. Whoops. Yeah, no, my task roll was set to 1. I set my complication range to 2. Whoops.
Oh,
Let me
definitely
roll another one
revise.
then. So,
Okay, I will accept that. Well, I'd say that this is relatively tied up, so you may have a slight sense of this, but it is the commander is doing a relatively good job to keep things under.
yeah, he's maintaining his composure.
I imagine the way that he comes across is like, because he's this professor, and like you can tell when a professor is a little bit annoyed with a student. Like, it's that kind of a thing.
Yes, I'm certainly I'm intimately familiar with that. You would like probably knowing bits and pieces about Captain Bart's service record. He himself was a science officer before being given the captain's chair. So, yeah. Hmm. No, it's fine. It's fine. I won't interfere. Maybe we can get to talking, and perhaps any annoyance could be cleared up. I will proceed to the airlock with Dr. Lambda.
Okay, so the two of you make your way up to the airlock, where uh, short ti like within a few moments of arriving here, the bosun is already set up in place and has their I think at this point they have a slightly digitized whistle for the customary coming aboard.
Yeah, that one.
Yep, we have an airlock, everybody. Hooray!
Ooh,
Yeah, we do.
All right.
airlock scene.
Yep. And with the customary but digitized whistle, the airlock door opens and Lieutenant Shira steps through.
I wonder what that whistling is.
Does Shira say that aloud?
She'll look puzzled. Her antenna will tweak a bit.
Oh, in response to the whistle.
Yeah.
What do I know about Andorian's physiology, specifically auditory responses to high frequencies, like the bosun whistle?
Hmm. This is actually probably another role because I would not imagine that passively you would know that you may know as much. Probably reason and medicine, to be perfectly
All right.
honest.
Okay.
Uh, Doctor, you may attempt this as
that's
well if
two
you
zeros.
wish. Oh, yep, you don't know squat. But yes, the lieutenant stands at the threshold.
Well, I mean, I suppose it's simple enough to read a bit of confusion. Um, Welcome aboard, Lieutenant Shira. I apologize for the whistling sound. It's an Earth tradition. Um,
Does that happen every time someone comes on board?
only when only when a crew member is being formally greeted aboard for assignment.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. Oh, anyway, yes, Lieutenant Shearer reporting for duty, Captain.
I acknowledge that. Welcome aboard, Lieutenant. Would you does Lieutenant Shira like have any bags with her or anything like that?
She's got a couple of bags. Yeah.
Okay. Is she wearing her Andorian Guard uniform or the Starfleet uniform?
She's currently wearing the Andorian Guard uniform,
Okay,
so the
that's fine.
kind of black attire.
Yes, that is okay. I did hail Commander Strain to give him my regards. So, let's get you situated aboard. Do you know where your quarters are, or would you like to go to the bridge first to assess your
I think
station?
dropping my bags off and then see my duty stations.
Very well. I probably would have made it a point at some point to, in preparation for this, to get to memorize where my officers' quarters are, so I could take them there. 'Cause I do like to do things personally like that. So, in that case, I will nod to Lieutenant Shira and say, "Follow me," and I will begin conducting her to her quarters to drop off the ball.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Lambeth, are you following along, or would you at this point have, after staying back from the initial encounter, would you have just gone to sick bay?
Yeah, I think he just gives a quick nod to like introduce himself and then
Oh,
heads off to sick bay.
I apologize. This is Dr. Lambeth, our ship's chief medical officer. He'll be
Yeah.
taking care of everyone aboard.
Pleasure to meet you, Doctor.
Yep, if you're getting a fix, you know where to find me.
I will, yes, because I've studied the layout of the Daedalus classes.
Great. Then, then actually maybe you could tell me where to find me. I'm still getting used to this place. Oh, but I can find my own way around.
Free somewhere.
Right. Yeah, I thought I heard someone say it was around there.
Captain Martin is impressed with Lieutenant Shira's knowledge of the vessel. I wasn't aware the Andorian Guard had such detailed knowledge of our vessels.
I believe that Starfleet furnished me with a few details.
I understand.
They don't want a tactical officer who's unfamiliar with the vessel.
Of course. Okay. So, what is Dr. Lambeth doing?
I think he's gonna try wandering over to sickbay if no one's gonna stop him.
All right. Doctor, I'll see you down in sickbay in a bit.
All right.
Yeah. See you later.
All right. So, with that, every officer is on board here. Now, before we proceed, I wanted to run a quick check with the players. Would it be consensus among the group? Is there a need for any sort of bio break or anything whilst we proceed? Like whilst we get set to proceed, or would you prefer to just take the ship out of dry dock?
I'm happy to continue.
I'm
Yeah.
fine.
As am I.
Yeah, I can keep going.
All right. Well then, in that case, we will continue underway. So we will elapse these next few hours as preparation continues. I will ask, does anybody want a scene anywhere in particular? An interaction perhaps with another player or something of the sort? Or does somebody want to explore something in a scene?
Did Patel actually assist tactically?
Yeah, I did. We buried the hatchet a little bit.
As you were assisting him, he would have explained where he got some of the items and why he got them. The reasons for why he got them as well.
Just out of curiosity, I don't really see a need to do the whole scene for it, but like, what are some of the stuff? Like, what do you collect?
So yeah, stuff from parks and just novelty items, snow globes, stuff like that. Like maybe a snow globe of Statue of Liberty, something. Pretty much just the world, like, yeah.
And maybe to get off on like a more friendly note, and we would maybe I would have shared some stories about like, you know, the various cities that I've studied in and places that I've been on like scientific whatevers. You know, I've lived in London and Paris and Berlin and New York and everywhere, and
Oh,
try to make that
I like
connection.
I like the bars in London. Yeah. I'm all fun. Research. It's not that interesting.
Cool.
Well, with all of that, let us proceed on ahead. And
I did want to. I don't want to do like a whole scene, but I did want to check on Dr. Lambeth in sickbay, make sure everything is stocked correctly, because I don't want to have a medical bay with missing things that might be important, on a starship's travels. I wanted to get Lieutenant Shearer situated in the quarters and familiarized with their station, probably chatting about the Aegis's shortcomings in comparison to a Andorian battlecruiser, perhaps. Um, and at some point, I did want to head to engineering to check with some concern on our winged friend via N. But I would, Commander via N, and just ensure that with my own personal engineering knowledge, I would probably make sure that everything is working correctly, specifically our engines, conventional and superluminal alike, and after that, yeah, we can proceed with moving out of drydock.
okay, I will say your trip down to engineering does have it is atypical in the sense that the uh, The bay is actually functioning quite well. However, the lights are low and everybody is refraining from making as much noise as possible. And that they would explain that hanging on the ceiling of the bridge is your avian chief engineer. What little you know suggests he is some variation on the Aurelian species. One that you've undoubtedly not encountered previously, but they have some reputation for being starfarers of different sorts, and
Yeah.
he certainly did quite a bit to get your engines operational. That being said, as near as it's been related to you, he enjoys the soothing sound of the warp, like the steady hum of the warp engine.
The pulsing hum, yeah, that's something I enjoy myself. It's my understanding that he made some enhancements to the warp drive.
hmm It will be related to you that while they can't go into everything right now, he'd insisted on informing you himself before or prior to the hibernation, but that the modifications have at least brought up the level to, or there I go, thinking of another campaign. The Aegis has been brought up to standards of a warp 4.5 maximum, at least what is projected. He seems very bent on beating that and going faster, trying to incorporate some of the technical notes that have been streaming from Enterprise, but it remains to be seen at present. So all of this will happen in engineering scenes that we will do when we are able to bring our player for that in next time.
Uh, I've conversed with Via N a few times up to this point, yes.
I would suspect so.
Well, then I would imagine that he was a bit excited to talk about those things with me myself. So yeah, I'll refrain from getting too deep into the weeds. Yes, any enhancements to our technology is appreciated. Okay, we can proceed forward with our maiden flight.
Okay. So, in that case, you all later find yourselves up on the bridge. Which, once again, it's a smaller, very utilitarian circular setup, one that allows you, Captain, to stay eye level with everything. Shira, it is maybe a third the size of the Kumari's bridge. Generously pushing it would be half. Um, and there's much more simplicity to the system here compared to what you were used to working with, but all the same, it's home now.
All right, I suppose it would be prudent to run through some pre-flight checks before getting underway. Let's see. So, should I discuss the Aegis's talents, or shall we leave that to be determined more or should we let that emerge?
That will, I think, would most naturally come out as we go.
Okay.
So we will discuss more of this, but for those that are curious, we are moving with the Daedalus class. This particular Daedalus class has taken on a Pathfinder mission profile. So their general directive or specialization will often entail exploration of new frontiers and beginning the sort of first wave of exploration in some locales. Um, More specifically, however, you have a current set of mission directives. This is going to be the trial run for the Aegis after it was brought up to specs. So you will be taking this out of drydock, and with a very quick sort of jaunt around the solar system, you will be testing out ship systems in order to make sure that they are effective. The primary objectives will function around engaging the engaging propulsion just to make sure that you can, in fact, move around without too much difficulty. It will also give you the chance to run sensor sweeps and test some of the weapon systems. Make sure that the ship is leaving dry dock fully functional. I can assure everybody, I will say this now, March 17th, 2154 is a Thursday, so everything system-wise that was needed was brought on board 2 days ago and installed. You're all good.
Very well.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right. But Ensign Crichton will turn to you. Sir, I have received word from the dockmaster they are prepared to disengage umbilical supports and allow us to clear moorings.
All right. Go for it. Disengage umbilicals and Ensign, prepare maneuvering thrust. No, wait, no, I'm sorry, not Ensign. Lieutenant, fire up maneuvering thrusters and clear us from dock if you would.
Captain.
All right, and with that, you can roll if you want the extra momentum. Otherwise, it's just going to be a simple minor action to allow the Aegis to kick off. Would you like one more, basically, momentum grab there, Tackley?
Yeah, I'll roll.
All right, control and con, and this time I'm going to ask somebody to roll for the Aegis. It is always a single dice roll, and there is always a focus added. It is going to be control plus con for Tackley, and then engines and con for the ship.
I'll roll for Aegis. So it's engines and con. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it only rolls 1 dice.
Correct. Oh,
Wow.
jeez.
Well done.
I regret to say that the chat is apparent, or rather the roll log is apparently still not updating for this, which I do apologize for the. I do very much apologize to stream for this. I will have tech issues sorted out by next week. It's been.
We got 6 successes.
Yes, they did. The GM will not lie to you. They rolled critical successes on every single dice roll.
We leave the dock at warp 5.
Leave the dock at warp 7.
Yes. Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast. In all seriousness, as the final cables and docking clamps are disengaged from the Aegis, of course, the thrusters, they respond seamlessly, but give you a nice little oomph. The inertial dampeners are keeping you from feeling any of that real acceleration, but the main thruster fires from the primary hull section. It's located actually inside the spherical component, and with that you clear dry dock effortlessly. Ensign Crichton is going back over this. Well, sir, it looks as though from here we should be testing impulse and warp drive, and it seems that they want us out by the Oort cloud, sir.
Well, it seems prudent to first make sure that the impulse drives are working correctly. Lieutenant, land a course for Luna and engage at 1/4 impulse, and then take us up to full impulse once we clear higher orbits.
So,
All right. Once again, one more roll if you so wish. This time the ship will expend 1 point of power as it moves up to impulse drives.
Damn.
That is a
I
talented.
fly. I like to fly.
He does like to fly.
Oh boy.
This man is styling with the Daedalus class vessel, which is not an easy task in and of itself. Maybe I should start increasing the difficulty here. To be fair, that'd be more of a daring thing if I were saying that you were styling on everyone. But yes, that To clarify, that was a difficulty 3 task. Or not difficulty 3, difficulty 1 task, which means that's with those 4 successes you scored, that is 3 more on top of this. You are not only completely filled with momentum, but you have 5 momentum just floating outside your pool. There's a maximum of 5 that, rather maximum of 6 that can be expended on rolls, or rather that can be held from scene to scene. Floating momentum, however, goes away as you transition away from that. So I'd say once you test propulsion here, this will probably, once you finish that, I'm going to be generous. The GM will allow you to hold on to the floating scene, or the floating momentum until the scene properly changes. So, what then would you like to do with it?
We blow up the moon. No. No, we do not blow up the moon.
Oh dear.
Well, so probably because of the maximum speed of our impulse drives, we probably get to the orbit of the moon within moments, a minute at the most.
Most
I think like
certainly.
I think the average cruising speed of impulse drives is like a not insignificant fraction of the speed of light.
Yeah. At full impulse, it's generally restricted to about 1/4 the speed of light, so it is quite fast. The engines could probably be pushed faster, at least in later eras. Probably actually not applicable to you, but I think that it's generally restricted to that in order to refrain from dealing with too much of a time dilation effect, which
too
impulse
many
can.
relativistic effects.
Yeah, that's a risk with higher impulse. Warp drive, not so much, because it is not you that's moving. It is space, rather, that folds. Yes.
Okay.
We learned science here.
Yes, we learned science here. Well, yeah, okay. Well, with Lieutenant Corius's expert flying, I suppose, yeah, we arrive within orbit of the moon within moments. Well done, Lieutenant. What was next on the checklist, Ensign? I'm asking the communications officer.
I am so sorry, sir. Sorry, there's been some distracting news I've been getting in my earpiece. Allow me to switch it back over. We do have a test of the warp drive to take us out to the Oort cloud, sir, and then we do have a let's see. They wanted us to. They wanted a weapons test fire selection, and it seems that the United Earth Space Probe Agency branch has logged a few objects which would be okay for targeting. We are to also test sensors and probes if we so wish to identify them, and then proceed with targeting and neutralizing them with the weapons test. Yes, that's what we're doing.
Very well.
It does not take an insight test to note that Ensign Crichton, it does seem a bit distracted now for some reason.
Okay. Ensign, you mentioned some distracting news. Would you care to elaborate?
I was just monitoring some comms traffic. It seems as though some signals with Alpha Centauri colony have been cut off.
Alpha Centauri. Commander Patel, how far away is that at maximum warp?
Oh god. Do I need to roll for this, or can I just make up a number?
Well, I can tell you that in terms of how far away it is, that should be. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong here. That would be
4.7 light years.
Yes.
So that we would get there at the speed of plot, Captain.
I understand.
No.
We've lost contact with Alpha Centauri. Is that what you're saying, Ensign?
It seems that all lines have, appear to be out with that. Command seems to be assessing that. I think that they're moving it off of the regular traffic in order to sort things out. But if orders come for us to investigate, I will certainly relay that to you.
Very well. Are there any other starships in the Sol system that are undergoing trials such that we are? Are there any other Starfleet vessels in the immediate vicinity?
So yes, there are other Starfleet vessels. They are
The Enterprise
mostly
left a
of
week
the
ago, so we can't.
Yeah, they are Enterprise as far away on a mission whose details you don't know. However, there are still some vessels available. They mostly fall under the Intrepid class cruiser space frame. So for those familiar with Enterprise, it'd be like the half saucer setup with nacelles, kind of a scrunched down Enterprise. There are the smaller Delta-shaped Ganges class vessels as well. They're primarily on defensive patrols and capabilities. They are a bit slower than you are otherwise fairly capable, a little smaller too. There were other ships that would be in the sector normally. Specifically, the Makos are running a fleet of the old Marshall class vessels as well, but they are also presently out of system, so far as you know.
I just did a quick Google on the warp speed update. At warp 5, we would get there in 12 days.
Yes, plot convenient speed.
No. I think the way they explain that away in the earlier series is that warp travel was faster. It was easier in the earlier days of Star Trek, and something subspace conditions have changed in the galaxy, so now warp travel is slower in the more modern eras of Star Trek. So speed of plot really.
We will sort this out, to be sure.
Yes.
But anyway, we
Alright.
do we I will keep you apprised, Captain, as I learn anything more, sir.
Lieutenant Tackley, lay in a course for the Alpha Centauri system, and engage at warp 2. Stop us at the barrier at warp cloud so that we can continue our shakedown, but be in a position to move should the order come through.
You don't wish to try out maximum warp, Captain?
Not inside the system, no.
Yeah, lost. Oh, blood course.
Okay, so this will be one more control and con roll, and I'm going to ask for one more point of power from the engines here. Also, the ship may, of course, roll engines and con to assist.
How do we recuperate power?
So that's a very good question. Recouping power is generally a job done by the chief engineer. Very specifically, it is usually a control and engineering task assisted by the ship with an engineering and engines task. If you succeed at the task, which, if memory serves, would be a difficulty of 2, then you automatically recoup at least 1 point of power. My memory may be a little bit flawed on that, but you can also reclaim additional points of power with points of momentum spent. So essentially, if you do really well, then you can juice that up.
I believe, GM, that we do have an improved warp drive.
You do have an improved warp drive, and let's remind everybody what that does. So for those unfamiliar, well, just as a general principle, there are certain talents that both player characters and the starships themselves can take on in order to give them certain advantages in particular tasks. So the Aegis, as the group decided, opted to take on an improved warp drive, where the ship's warp drive is more efficient, capitalizing on improved field dynamics, better control of antimatter flow rates, or some other advancement that allows the ship to expend less energy when traveling at warp. Whenever the ship spends power to go to warp, roll one challenge die for each point of power spent. For each effect rolled, that point of power is not spent. So I believe we're at a low cruising speed. I'm going to ask you just to roll me a single challenge die. How you do that, which I'll say, Mark, if you want to go into your sheet as chorus, go ahead and where it says challenge dice, I want you to change the 0 value to a 1 and then press enter and then hit the roll button there. And unfortunately, that is not an effect, so there will be no power reclaimed from that. Mark, if you do want to, Craig, if you were still going to roll for the Aegis, then it does at least have the engines and con roll that can help restore, add another success on top of that.
There you go.
That's
One success.
3 successes. You guys are really juicing it here. So that will take you out to the, that will engage the warp engines and take the Aegis further out into the system. What you do, you proceed at warp until, you proceed at warp and arrive in a distant part of the solar system to the Oort cloud, the sort of nebulous cluster of dust and ice where there are few if any objects, certainly not much in the way of planetary bodies, but there are some small ones. So we're going to put you guys onto this battle grid here. This is a map that, at least one version of maps we will sometimes use for this. So,
Ooh.
yes, Creighton Creighton says, well, now that we've successfully warped out here, sir, Starfleet had designated a few objects, but they, oh dear, if memory serves, I think something about the orders said that they have some sort of light radioactive material on them, something that it would require the sensors to determine exactly what we were firing at.
All right, sounds simple enough. Commander Patel, if you would, fire up the sensors and hone in on the. Did the orders include the exact radioactive signature of these elements that we're looking for?
They did, sir.
Send them over to Commander Patel's station, please.
And he will relay the information.
Yep, I spin around in my chair and I beep some boops on the console.
Yeah.
Look into my cool little what is the thing called? Like the little visor thing that T'Pol looks
visor
in.
thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you beep the boops, and I'm going to say that Starfleet wanted to make it a little more challenging. So the base difficulty on this task, this is going to be a reason plus science task, assisted by the ship's sensors and science. And the base difficulty on this is actually going to be 4. How?
GM, with my personal expertise as a science officer, could I possibly move over to Commander Patel's station and give him a hand with that?
You could do that. You could also use the direct action to assist him. And I will remind you that the ship has one other very useful talent.
Yes, the what was it? Oh wait, no, that's my sheet. Yes, oh, come on, get out of the way. I'm trying to get. We also have the advanced sensor suite. The advanced sensor suite sound, which, if I recall correctly, any roll assisted by the ship's sensors, the difficulty of that is reduced by 1.
Indeed it is. So that will go down to a difficulty of 3.
So,
Right.
but the task roll is still 2 dice, right?
Yes, you still only roll 2 dice to start, but you do have momentum that you can
We have
spend
quite
to
a
buy
bit of
additional dice.
momentum.
Yeah, you could buy you could buy the 3 additional dice at the cost of, oh geez, I think it would be 6 momentum, which
It's like less than half of the momentum we have stocked up.
yeah.
So it's always, if I remember right, it's like if you want to buy 1 additional dice, it costs 1. If you buy 2 additional, it costs 3 or something like that, right?
Exactly. It escalates for every dice you purchase.
So the first die is 1 momentum. The second die is 2 additional momentum. The third die is 3 additional momentum.
That is correct.
So we could do up to 3 additional die. Okay.
Yes. And you could have
I-
the captain assist you with a direct or just going over your shoulder and
Direct would that would be using my
command focus.
that would be
yes.
using my command
Or
and
command.
my what?
Presence.
Command and presence, or I could use my expertise as a science officer and use my reason in science, most likely.
Yes.
Yeah, what was my attribute? Was it also reason?
Your attribute is also reason and science.
Okay, so I'm maxed on both of those. So I'm comfortable with buying 1 or 2 die, sure. With
Okay.
plenty of momentum.
Yep, so 3 out of the floating pool will go to that.
Okay, so then I make my task roll 4.
Correct.
And I will give Commander Patel a hand personally, as opposed to using the direct action, and of course the ship sensors will lend a hand. So
Cool. I don't have a focus for this, so here we go. Boom.
That is 4 successes.
Gosh.
and I'll roll my own for 1 task. That is no successes for me.
Yep.
And let's see. Shall I roll for the Aegis?
Somebody wishes to roll sensors and science, that is also acceptable.
All right, I'll do that real quick. And the ship also gets an additional success.
Okay, so Commander Patel, as you find your work, you do find that Barton's a little bit over your shoulder, and maybe he's trying to mess with a few inputs, trying to help you find this. He's very well intentioned, but you find that it's unnecessary to the work you're doing. At least it's not in the way, though. You identify a few objects with an unusual radiometric signature, which we will call 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, and no more.
All right. As a note for Commander, or I'm sorry, for Captain Barton. We do have more advanced sensors on this ship. You do get the sense that Captain Barton, for his in spite of his ability with the sciences, he does seem to be more used to more, well, for lack of a better term, outdated sensor systems. So he is as much attempting to help you as he is personally trying to familiarize himself with the sensor systems aboard the Aegis. So.
Yep, it's cool. Like Kieran doesn't like, you don't get the indication that he's nerved about it or anything.
Okay. All right.
Captain, I'm detecting what looks to be baked potatoes.
Baked potatoes. Interesting. All right. Ensign, it's my understanding that we are to proceed with a weapons test with all due haste. Yes?
Indeed, sir. We only need destroy enough to test the weapon systems, specifically our phase cannons and the spatial torpedo launchers that we have. But nothing stops us from destroying all of them if we want. Do you wish to give in to the bloodlust?
I will return to my captain's chair, and I will nod to Lieutenant Shira. Lieutenant Shira, please engage for us a tactical alert.
Tactical alerts. Bring in phase cannons online and polarize the whole plate in.
Okay.
How many torpedo tubes do we have?
There, I believe, would be 2 forward and 2 aft.
Lieutenant Shira, load.
Tubes 1, 2, and 3.
All right. Now, as a bit of clarification for the tactical map that everyone can see now, you are within Star Trek Adventures. There are what we refer to as zones. So essentially, you occupy a zone, and then any area sort of adjacent to you qualifies as its own zone. The the distance between each of those objects is it determines the difficulty in terms of launching attacks, among other things. So in terms of a space map, one zone in proximity to you would be considered close range. 2 zones out would be considered medium range. 3 would be something at 3 zones out would be considered long range, and anything beyond that would be considered extreme. For each weapon that you have, it does have a different preference for zone usage, and any further distance between that increases the difficulty to use it. You can, of course, nullify that by moving around. So, with that quick explanation, as it stands, you have 1 in long range, or rather 1 in medium range presently, 1 in close range, not long range, that is to say, and then 1 at an extreme range.
All right.
How do you wish to proceed?
So what would we like to do? Because we have 3 systems aboard. We have our phase cannons, we have our torpedoes, and we have our grappler cable as well. Might be a good chance to get that to make sure that's working as well. This is me speaking as myself. I don't want to always be unilaterally making decisions as the captain.
Yep, by all means. I encourage people when you have decisions before this, as the players, you are welcome to chat amongst yourselves.
I say destroy the one at medium range with the phase cannons, launch torpedoes at the longer range one, and then close in on the third and use the grappling hook thing.
I was kind of thinking it might be fun to grapple one of them and then toss it at another. What kind of check would that be, GM?
Oh dear.
Just slingshot one of the rocks at the others.
I feel like that would require that would probably require tactical to assist, or rather, it would require a control and security roll. No, maybe even daring and security with that, assisted by the helm with control and con. Because you are.
I can do that. Although I guess for grapples we'd have to get in really close.
Yes. The grapple cable is also a close range.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Ben, Drone, Mark, any other things that you'd want to try? You need not destroy all the targets, but so long as you test out what you have is all that matters.
Yeah, I've got no plans. No
Same.
Yeah, no plans.
Let's do that grapple thing then.
All right, Lieutenant Shura, let's use an Earth idiom here and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Lieutenant Tackley, move us into grapple range of the closest rock and Lieutenant, secure it with our grappler, please.
Okay. For our purposes, I will just say that Tackley can fire up the thrusters and not have to. I will not force you to roll for that, or rather, I see no reason to juice the momentum any further.
Okay, right. In that case, so we're gonna try to use the grapple to throw the rock to hit another rock.
Indeed.
So my plan was to grapple the rock that's closest to us and then fly towards the rock that's a little further away and then release it like a glide bomb or something.
Okay.
So
you said that was daring security.
Well, since it's going to be more of a staged out thing, I think we'll treat this as a gated task. So the first task in this would be a control and security task assisted by the ship's security and structure. And just for the task will be a difficulty of 2. And just to explain it for anyone in the stream unfamiliar, sometimes there are tasks which are it requires a process of steps to do things in order to complete it. Uh, with a gated task, the idea is that you are doing things logically in a sequence to unlock the next step. So first they have to grab it, then they move, then they have to get the trajectory just right in order to knock into the next rock. So this first task is obviously the grapple, which Shira will go ahead and attempt.
Alright, I've got
Yeah.
focus in shipboard tactical systems, so I hope that full covers the grapple.
GM, I also have, as the commanding officer, I have the direct action, and I have a talent that lets me use it twice per scene. What exactly does a scene mean for the purposes of this?
I would say for the time that you are on this particular map here,
Okay.
and sort of in the same sequence of events, would be disrupted if we had to go elsewhere on the ship, or if we had to cut to something else for whatever reason.
All right. Okay. I will let Lieutenant Shiro roll.
Cool. I'm
I will
going
not
to
use my
use
direct
my talent bold security to buy a third dice and give the GM a point of threat.
I like hearing that. Music to my ears.
You're going to be hearing that a lot.
Yes. All
Very
right.
nice.
Okay, fire. Nice.
Okay, and that will give you a third. That will give you an excess point of success. So that will be, or well, 3 successes. You get 1 point of momentum. Once again, floating.
Does the ship roll as well?
The ship may also roll with security and structure.
Security and structure. All right.
And if you
Oh,
were
nice.
if you were directing there, then I believe that you also get the you do get presence and command. I do not recall.
No, I won't. I will not use my direct action for that.
Okay.
I think it's presence and command.
All right. So with that, you manage to successfully get a lock on the craft, and you now have a suspiciously potato-shaped asteroid in tow. So
That's next GM.
the next step would be to roll this up properly. And I will actually offer one more possible step here. Realizing that it might be you want to get this in like precisely the right course to knock into it. This could be room for a science-related task. Would you be up for trying to calculate the optimal trajectory, Tam, or would you prefer to leave that up to the helm officer?
Yeah, it's totally good with me.
Okay. Well, then that would be a reason, and I think actually con would be appropriate here. Though I will allow for science though, since I am for one putting you a little on the spot, and this is you would be able to calculate that from your console.
I have a 1 in con, so I'm very glad you said that.
Oh boy.
There we go. Taking into account the mineral composition of both of these asteroids,
Okay.
I'm safe to say that this particular course that I'm routing to the home console now is going to be sufficient to blow up both of the asteroids on
Yes.
impact.
I will give you that. So yeah, you have your course heading, and that will make your next task quite a bit simpler there, Chorus. I'm actually going to say that the calculation actually is such that you now have you have a very good sense of how you're going to connect, basically how you're going to connect, how you're going to allow for Shira to release it at the proper time. So you may select whether your task is either control or daring for this next roll, at least attribute-wise. It will ask for your con roll, and it will be a difficulty 3 roll still, but that is down from what it would have been.
We have 1 floating momentum.
Yes.
I'll use that to get an extra die.
All right. Would you prefer to do con or daring as your attribute?
Daring.
All right. Then I want this roll, and I want you to flavor it up for me. How's Corius going to make this a dicier maneuver, or make it seem like a riskier
So
maneuver?
he's doing pretty much like a dive bomb where he's flying straight at it, and the last minute he's going to pull up so that he gets extra momentum, hopefully.
Spectacular.
All right. Can I use my direct action to direct him?
I would have liked to hear the chime in before the roll, but I will give you
Oh,
the
okay, never mind.
uh,
Okay, never mind.
yeah. You can at least roll engines and con to support this.
Oh yes, for the ship. Yes.
Yeah.
Ugh. Why wouldn't it open? It keeps the there we go. Engines plus con. All right. I just didn't want to interrupt anyone speaking.
That is
Right.
fair. I will attempt to make allowances for that in the future so that everybody has a chance to chime in. Well, while the ship does not assist you so much, who needs it when your helm officer is able to deftly pilot the vessel with a maximum thruster burn and a potato-shaped asteroid in tow? You close the distance, getting closer and closer. The object is growing in your on your view screen, and the alarms are starting to go off as it approaches the sort of hundreds of meters type mark. And as you get into crucial distance, the either by sort of loop-de-loop fashion or just a simple pull-up, however, whatever sort of flair you wish to add to it, you disengage from the collision course. And I will say that the rock connects with the other one, thus breaking them up into many smaller chunks.
Yay! Explosions.
There are no explosions that take place. There were
Yeah.
no combustible.
I
Explosions!
like this idea that in the ship it's so intense and loud, and outside there's just a ship silently floating through space.
Yep.
Yep.
You silently
Yep.
smashed a rock into another rock, and there's a bunch of smaller rocks out there.
Do a brief cut to Admiral Forest's office, and he's just like watching a monitor and
Like,
face
what the
face
hell?
palming.
Yep. Well,
Hey, it worked.
well, sir, we still have one rock left.
Phase cannons are ready, sir.
Yes, Lieutenant Shearer, full weapons. Fire at will.
Okay.
Okay.
So at medium range, that is going to be a difficulty of 3. It is a control and security roll. It will cost at least 1 point of power, and will also require, the ship may also roll weapons and security to assist.
With my
May I
fire at will, I would
suggest?
like to. Go ahead.
May I suggest that instead of we destroy this, sir, we try and carve something on it to see how precise we can be with the phases.
Ooh,
Carve like
I
a
do
little
like that idea.
a little shield on it because we're the Aegis.
Indeed.
I do like that. I do like that idea. Is that what our mission patch looks like, GM? A little shield.
That would be the case. And for those interested, I will admit, regrettably, the closing screen was malfunctioning when I did a bit of a test earlier, but in future cases, you will get to see a mission patch for the Aegis when we close out the stream
Nice.
here.
Very nice. Right.
Okay, 1 shield on a potato. You've got it.
Yep.
All right, and I will use my direct action for Lieutenant Shearer's task here.
That is good, because since we are doing precision work, I'm treating this as a subsystem targeting type thing, where or rather targeting a specific system where the result is that it would actually increase the difficulty by an additional 1. So the total difficulty is now 4.
Cool. Yeah, I'll do bold security again to get myself an extra die.
Spectacular. The GM will graciously accept your threat. All right.
Okay, let's see.
I use my presence plus command, yes?
That is correct.
All right.
4.
No dice for me, and for the ship, let's see. That would be weapons plus security?
Yes.
All right. And no dice for the ship as well.
Well, while you don't quite make that roll, Shira nonetheless is able to make a specific target. Tell me a little bit about the artistic touches that the lieutenant would engage in. What shaped shield are we going with?
We're going with one of those kind of kite type shields. But in addition to that, she's gonna put on 2 little antennae growing out the top of it.
Spectacular.
I
Yep.
think Kieran turns over to his console real quick and he hits a couple keys and like the view screen zooms in a little bit.
I was just about to ask, yeah.
And the view screen does the thing on like an iPhone where you take a screenshot.
I was about to ask the same thing, yeah. That's perfect.
Yep.
Save that one to the library computer, Captain.
Yep. And
You
I
read
will
my mind. Well done, Lieutenant Shira.
Would you
Thank
like
you,
me?
sir.
Would you like me to relay telemetry to command, sir?
No, that's okay, Ensign.
Okay, good. Well, perhaps bad. I'm going to turn off this feed. Forest loses his line on the other end.
I just imagine Saval's in his office too, watching.
What the hell?
Oh, we have fun,
Well,
don't we?
unfortunately, we do have one last thing to test, and that is our those are our spatial torpedoes. So, I regret to
Target in the
say it,
center of the shield, sir.
but please fire at will.
All right. This will be the torpedoes, I believe, are at medium range for the spatial torpedoes.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, then I will consider this a I'll consider this just a difficulty 3 roll. Are you firing one torpedo or is this a salvo?
What does a salvo get me?
So, and once again, I'm going to back out for anyone who's unfamiliar with the rule system. Your main weapons in Star Trek Adventures, when it comes to ship-based combat, it is energy weaponry, which costs power, but does give you certain interesting benefits, and it does deal a bit more raw damage in some ways, at least against shielded targets. Torpedoes, on the other hand, they don't have a power cost, but they do generally generate threat. I'm not going to take it this time, just because the adventure hasn't truly begun here, and I'll take it after that point. But you do have the option of either launching a single torpedo, which usually would cost 1 threat, and you do the base damage. If you launch a salvo, it does cost more threat, however, it does also increase the damage by 2 challenge dice.
I think just 1 torpedo. We're only testing things here.
Yeah, you may as well economize. So then fire away.
Fire away. Okay.
It would be another control security task with a difficulty of 3.
Difficulty of 3. Okay. Yeah, I'll do bold security again. Keep giving that threat.
Oh boy,
Juice the threat.
that's not gonna come back to bite us.
3.
Excellent.
All right, the ship may also assist with control
Oh, yes.
and weapons and security.
Does anyone else want to roll that?
I think the captain needs to take responsibility.
Ah, yes. Very well.
Hey.
5
Uh,
oh, 7. Oh good. Oh good.
Alright.
Our weapons are awful.
Well,
but-
this time I am not forcing you to roll damage, and I'm just going to say the torpedo fires out of the bay and lands squarely in the midst of the shield, shattering it asunder along with the rest of the rock. So you are all good. Hooray for violence.
I encourage violence. Very well. Lieutenant Chira, what is your assessment of the Aegis' tactical systems?
They are performing exactly as expected, sir.
Raise an eyebrow at that. Very well.
And now I'm going to spend 2 threat as our plot gets underway. Sir,
Yes, plot.
I've reestablished a connection. There's a channel being broadcast from Alpha Centauri, all frequencies.
Put it up on the view screen, Hanson.
Um, what you seem to see is a speech that is already in progress, at least based upon the cadence of where this gentleman is. On the view screen ahead of you, you see an older man, but still in a somewhat polished suit. It is against a gray walled space. Based on the ambience of the sound, this is a speech being given from outside, however. And let me just make sure that that transition is being properly seen here. Okay. So, yes. Alas, Earth is trending ever towards empire. For all their claims of evolution away from the wars of its past, they grow their starfleet and their armies, supposedly for your protection. But I submit that these arms are for their protection against your freedoms. They have imposed on us for almost as long as this colony has been established. They govern with unelected figureheads, directing their colonies, and when we strike against it, they use force to suppress that dissent. A voice breaks the flow. Says the unelected figurehead, we didn't vote for you. The governor is slightly taken off base. No, and that experience has allowed me to understand your plight. I may not be among this brave group of pioneers or those that descended from you. As an United Earth senator, when I received my assignment here, I didn't fully appreciate the struggles that you go through. But now I've come to understand, and I see it as the time for we as Centaurians, whether born or whether we came for opportunity, to strike out on our own. And we shall not do it alone. We shall not shed our blood alone, or even have to shed our blood to achieve this. As he says this, the camera pans around, and you get a look at what appear to be small shuttle-sized craft coming down from the sky. They touch down, and dozens and dozens, as they set down, figures begin to emerge with some manner of two-handed weapon. They stand maybe about 5'1", 5'2", the most of them. They are in an unusual sort of square patterned outfit with sort of a grid shape on their uniforms. It's an unusual shiny material that catches the light off the day from New Samarkand. One of them who is without that armament stands next to them. rather goes up and stands next to the figure on the bridge there, or rather on the main sort of audience area, and he removes his helmet. I have received assurances from our new ally that we shall be defended by the gracious fleet of Admiral Clochon, and as Centaurians, we shall seize the future for ourselves. And that is where I think it is time for us to close off today's session. So, with all of that, players, I'm going to ask you to stick around for just a minute here. But to the stream, I want to say, first off, for those of you that are here, thank you for being here. I cannot begin to express the appreciation that everyone showed up in the first place, and oh wow, it means the galaxy to me. But we are going to leave you through for this. I'm going to stop the recording here. These sessions are also being recorded for the purposes of a YouTube archive, which I will post more. Keep an eye on. Well, I'll announce something here. I would direct you to the social media I have, which I can be found at Twitter at GM in the Great Barrier. So be sure to keep an eye for updates there. I will post in a few other Discords and the Star Trek Adventures Reddit as well. So all of this will be forthcoming. For those of you watching us from European time zones, bear in mind I believe clocks are rolling forward tomorrow, so you will be catching us next week at 6 p.m. GMT. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, I am going to stop the recording here.